I am Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And with this blog, with this podcast, I'm finishing a series of 5 programs about cancer. We have examined from the beginning, trying to define what is cancer, where it comes from, how it develops, to understanding how it can be so deadly, which makes it very feared, and how it can create a lot of storms and problems in the body. We have also discussed of what can we do to help cancer to be successful, but also, most important, what we can do to block cancer growth, prevent cancer, in one word. We have also discussed about early diagnosis, how it can make all the difference in the world, how your success rate can go from 10% to 90% just because you caught it on time. And that's a series of 5 blogs that you can review, that you can read, that you can share, and all the links are with you. So all you have to do is click one by one, click one or another, check one segment at a time, share it. I would love you to share it, because if we spread the word, if more people understand what and how, cancer is going to become less and less of a problem. Because we definitely, you and I, want it out of our lives. But in this 5th program, I have come to a point which is very important. Yes, we can do a lot of things to prevent it. We can do a lot of things for early diagnosis. We can do a lot of things to change things, etc., for the better. But what happens when you now have cancer? When you go to the doctor's office and he tells you that weight loss that you had, that little blood in the urine, that coughing up something, that stomach ache, etc., 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 turned out to be cancer. They're going to sit across from you and they're going to tell you, we have examined all the tests, I have seen you in a physical examination, I have recorded the history of the problems that you have been having, and imaging and laboratory and biopsies now confirm that you have cancer. I have tried to make an effort in lumping together all cancers. Not because breast cancer is the same as bladder cancer, but because there are many things in common that, if we consider them right, a lot of things that I have mentioned can help one or another. Because at the bottom, all cancers are the same thing, are a group of cells uprising in an abnormal way, rebellious to all the systems that control the body, which are going to do whatever it pleases them, and they're going to create their own environment, their own universe, their own metabolic conditions, and they're not going to obey any rule in the body. So all of them at the bottom can be approached and managed, taking those conditions under consideration. So now that you have cancer, you have to think what you're going to do. We have to plan things. Okay? I have always said, and I have always thought, no one really knows, no one really understands what goes through the mind, through the spirit of a person when that person is told that now he or she have cancer. Only you that have gone through that process really understands how much it means when they tell you that. So what you have to do at that point is, the first thing you have to do is sit back. Retreat a little bit. Don't act immediately. Don't listen to anything they can tell you. You're going to hear 1,000 things every 20 minutes. Now what you have to do is retreat a little bit and think of yourself. And then you can start analyzing strengths and weaknesses, and you can think of what could be working on your behalf, what will not be a good asset, and then you have to say, okay, I want to set a plan. Whatever you decide to do, whatever plan you have, I would like you to keep two things in mind. One, you're at the helm. So you're the chief executive officer. Don't let anybody push you. Listen. It's wise to listen to everybody. But it is also wise that you finally make the most important decisions. This is what I want to do. Nowadays we have a lot of information on the web, in books, on everything. You have a lot of information. Your doctor should be your help. So with all that into consideration, you get everything you need to know what you're going to do, but finally you have to think of yourself as the manager, as the chief executive officer, because that's going to give you the drive, the energy, the positive attitude to go ahead and manage the problem. Now, don't let anybody fool you with the idea that positive thinking is not enough, that being in control is not enough. Might not be enough, but it's a very important part of the foundation. What else you need? If you're fortunate enough to have a good friend, a good family member, a loved one that can be your stake and stay, that would be fantastic. Because in those moments, like in every moment in life, somebody to support you, to understand you, to be compassionate about everything that's going on, can be your best advisor. Can tell you, I think this is smart, let's do this, let's do that, I think we should look for a second opinion here, a second opinion there, I have read, because that person is going to have a calmer point of view. That person doesn't have cancer, he's worried about you, he's concerned about you, he loves you, or she loves you. But that person is in a much cooler condition. So analyzing information is going to be a lot easier for that person. So this is very important. Those two things are important. I'm in charge, but this is my chief financial officer, you call it whatever, my vice president, but that person is going to be my stake, my support, my stay, in order to make all the decisions in the right way. And that way, you're going to be able to relax and review all the facts. Now, don't do the mistake of thinking, well, I heard about this person with this problem. About every cancer is very individual. There is a very good oncologist that was a very good friend of mine for many years that always said, the only thing you know is that cancer doesn't have a word of honor. What does that mean? Cancer is going to do? You never know how it's going to behave. You never know what you can expect. So in a way, we have to take it day by day. So when we put all the alternatives, and remember, alternative means this and this and this and this, choosing from all the possible. It doesn't mean either or. If you're going to be juicing, then you do not take this therapy. No, you can complement them. You can integrate them. That's actually the smart thing to do. Like, for example, if you're fighting a war, yes, on one hand, you're sending bombers and army and tanks, etc. But on the other hand, you're working behind the lines, eroding the capacity of your enemy. That's why you have spies. That's why you have underground activity. That's going to be undermining the efforts of the enemy, providing intelligence or blocking routes of communication or simply disrupting supply chains. And that happens behind. That doesn't mean any violent explosion, doesn't mean an atomic bomb, anything, but that can be as harmful as anything else. Nobody fights a war from just the front. That's what we see in movies. But in all reality, there are a lot of things that happen behind lines. Also remember that when you're fighting a war, you're going to need supplies, you're going to need energy, you're going to need intelligence, you're going to do a lot of things, you're going to need them. They're very important as anything else. Airplanes don't fly by themselves. They need fuel, they need mechanics, they need new tires, they need a lot of things, they need trained people. There's so many things that go into one single act of war that I cannot even begin to tell you. But you know, we watch the news, unfortunately, we're watching wars every so often, and we know what it needs to fight that war, and what makes one front be successful. When all the needs of the attack are well planned, have good logistics, are well understood, well staffed, and well equipped. That's what we're going to be talking about in this segment. Now that you have cancer, what we're going to do. Stay with me. I am Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And this podcast is part of the 5th program about cancer. I give you all the links, all the connections to those 5 podcasts about cancer. Trying to define what it is, to what to do when you definitely know you have a cancer. Going through prevention, going through health management, going through early detection, getting from all the tools you have to block cancer from really being produced or slowing it down, etc., to what to do when you're told that now you have cancer. If you want to do me a favor, a real big favor, because this is a quest I have, a personal quest I have, share these podcasts with people that you love. Help them understand things. And tell them if you have any question, if you have any comment about it, you can contact Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez in the social media of your choice. And ask a question and learn about it. We are now trying to see what we do when we couldn't prevent it. We did everything to do this or the other, but now the doctor is telling me that according to the medical history, to the laboratory information, to the imaging they have, now you have a cancer. And I was just talking about how we have to sit back, retreat a little bit, make a plan, get a strategy going, get somebody to help you, somebody you love. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about your doctor. It has to be somebody that's going to be your stake, your stay. Okay? With that, you have a person that you can really openly discuss everything. Well, you know, my white blood cells are doing this, they're proposing this therapy, what do you think? That person will have a much cooler attitude to the whole thing because it's not personally involved with the diagnosis. So he'll have more time to review, to analyze things and help you. But you can do it too. So you create, even if it's a very small team, it's a team to help you plan a very important situation. And that's going to help you a lot. Now, what we're going to do, and the first part of what you can do is very simple. And I title it Nutrition, Nutrition, Nutrition. I was just talking about how fighting a war is not just saying an airplane or an aircraft carrier or anything, you name it, a tank. No, you have to build those things. You have to create them. You have to staff them. You have to supply parts and fuel and etc., etc. So does your body. You need all those things. You need supplies. You need energy. You need a lot of things for your body to work very well. One of the conditions that happens very frequently with cancer, and we all have seen it, is we start losing weight. We start losing weight because cancers are very avid energy consumers. They take up a lot more energy than we can think of. So they steal it from the rest of the body. So here's a trick. Here's something very, very important I want to tell you. It's very important because I don't want to sound confusing. Because on one hand, I'm telling you, you have to supply nutrition to the body. On the other hand, I'm going to tell you, don't give these things to your body. And you say, what do I do? Do I eat or I don't eat? It depends on the tumor activity, on the type of tumor, and you really, here you need a professional opinion. But I'm going to give you some simple general rules. And those general rules are really what we have been talking about all the time. Those of you that have followed me through my blogs and social media know about it. There's a big argument nowadays. People are finally talking about it. One thing you do not need because it fuels your tumor, not your body, is sugar. Sugar should be completely erased if you have a cancer. Sugar is not energy. Sugar, if you have a cancer, is a poison. It feeds the tumor to be more successful. What you need, not only when you have cancer, what we need is food, not sugar. That's why I think it is very important to understand that part. Sugar is inflammatory. And inflammation is the environment in which cancers thrive. In which cancers thrive. You do not need a thriving cancer. You need a very weak cancer. So you take sugar completely out of your life. That is a very important point. The other thing, if we're talking about inflammation, we're talking that the inflammatory environment is not good for a cancer, you have a second thing that's very important. Very important. Vegetable oils. Vegetable oils are pro-inflammatory. They enhance inflammation. And remember that inflammation, chronic inflammation that's not produced as a response of a tissue damage. If you break a leg, if you pinch your finger in the car's door, etc., yes, there's going to be inflammation, but it's inflammation that's going to protect you. And as soon as the problem is solved, that inflammation is going to disappear. But the inflammation we produce with sugar and with vegetable oils is with you day and night. Day after day, month after month. You do not need that. You need inflammation to go down. So when you're talking nutrition, you can connect to many of the podcasts that I have produced talking about good nutrition, what's good food, what is not even food. So sugars and vegetable oils should be completely out of your life. But you can have olive oil, you can have lard, and you can have real butter. Now, let's go to the other part. Believe it or not, the first time I talked about it, I couldn't believe it. But I have like 40 years experience at BioCare Hospital. And we have treated literally thousands of patients with cancer. So I have seen it firsthand. There's some cancers that are so active, so nasty, so aggressive, they need something to strike them and to stop them. And in that case, many times, fasting is the best tool. When you fast a person, the oxygen consumption goes way down. The energy production goes way down. And the body has to go through other metabolic processes to survive, which produces acidity. You probably have heard of the keto diet. Keto diets that have very low carbohydrates produce acidity in the body. That's why you call it keto. Okay? When you produce acidity, you damage cancers because cancers are metabolically acid. They produce huge amounts of lactic acid. So if you make it more acid, as with fasting or diet control, calorie control, you are going to hurt them. So there's a rationale. Now, when you're in a place like BioCare, when you're in a real hospital that has worked with these techniques for years and years, that can be very well managed because you're going to be monitored to what extent, for what length, and so forth. But you can read about cancer and fasting. You can go to the web for cancer and fasting, and you're going to see a lot of information. And the last part is that you need to build tissues. You need to create cells. You need to produce energy to function. So you're going to have to eat what types of food you're going to need. Now, in many cases, the cancer is so tricky, is so sneaky, that one of the first things that you're going to notice in a cancer patient is they do not want to eat anymore. They refuse food. Food becomes disgusting. Once again, if you're in a hospital like BioCare, an environment that understands medically what's going on, we go to intravenous feeding. So we can have our cake and eat it too. The patient doesn't have to eat the food that he refuses, but he's fed with the things that we need to feed that patient with. So you get great results. Intravenous feeding has shown that it can improve immune conditions, it can enhance immune performance, it can enhance tissue production, it can enhance energy supply of the body, etc., and it can enhance survival. Just because the body has everything the body needs to work with. So you have to think of nutrition as one of the biggest tools of the body. Don't neglect it. It's very important. You have to have it as one of your primary goals. How am I going to do it? Am I in good shape to do it at home, or do I need the help of places like BioCare Hospital? Stay with me, because we have to talk about other integrative therapies. You are with Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And this time, we're talking about cancer. And I say again, because I have made 5 programs on cancer. Because I have many questions. I have been a doctor for over 50 years. I have been working in cancer integrative therapies for about 40 years. And in those 40 years, I have seen repeatedly the conditions that a patient gets involved with. The questions, the fear, the anguish, the facing of the unknown, the facing of something we don't really understand. We just know it's bad. So I have dedicated a big part of my professional life in trying to help educate people about medical issues. And one of the areas that I have emphasized all my life is about cancer and degenerative diseases. And one of the things that really bothers me is how in the course of these years I have seen more and more and more and more of these cases. More cancer, more this, more the other, more, and you say, what's happening? Not only that, but I'm looking at it in younger and younger and younger individuals. And then you turn your face and you see children that literally eat junk, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they down it with sugary drinks. And they have very short sleep because they're watching a digital device. Because they do not exercise, because they do not move, because they're not exposed to sunlight. And then I wonder if many things that I have read about that the new parents of this generation are going to go to their children's funerals. Used to be the other way around. Used to be that we, the children, one day are going to go to our parents' funeral. But it's starting to change. And I don't like the perspective. I cannot even think what it would be like to lose a child. So I have started making a campaign of telling people we're doing it wrong, we're doing it wrong. The answer has been all the time in our hands. We have neglected nutrition. We have neglected lifestyle. We think we can just do whatever we want and one day go to the doctor, get a prescription, fill the prescription, take a drug, and the problem is gone. We're seeing diabetes as never before, and cancer also. And on one hand, in many things, because I treat cancer, I see cancer patients, I see successful cases. And I'm delighted to see people that leave the hospital with big smiles, feeling better and functioning a lot better. But on the other hand, it breaks my heart that years later they burying their children that are 40 or 50 years old, if not younger. So we have to change things. And when we are diagnosed with cancer, which is what we're talking about today, then is the time to think of everything we have learned. Everything we know has to be put to work. Everything we believe in, everything we see that works, everything we see that helps, everything I've seen that heals, I have to put it together. It's the time of truth. You're talking to somebody that has been told, now you have cancer. So we're talking about what to do in that case. How we have to get somebody next to us to help, to support, how we have to openly talk to the doctor and ask questions, because after all, I'm in charge. Not you, doctor, I'm in charge. You have to give me the information. You have to tell me what you want to do. You have to explain me. Okay? And without being imposing anything, I have to know what I want to do. And there are things that are within my reach. And the first one I was telling you is nutrition. And I emphasize it. In nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. Because if we don't feed our bodies, if we do not know how to feed our bodies, we're going to fail. And I'm going to talk about chronic inflammation. Inflammation might be one of the reasons why we see more and more cancer every day, and why we see it in younger people. Because the inflammation environment helps cancer to thrive. So if we have a little cancer, we produce some cancer cells, and for any reason we neglect the destruction because we have a failure in our immunity, then that cancer is going to thrive because of the inflammatory environment. And the chronic inflammation is produced by sugars, by refined sugar, by refined flour, by vegetable oils, and for over-processed food that we eat every day. So eating is a science, but it's a science that you and I and everybody have to manage. And we have our food processing office at home, which is our kitchen. So if you have cancer, you have to avoid any foods that have possible toxic substances and sugars and bad oils. So you have to cook yourself. That's why having a wingman is going to help a lot. Somebody is going to help you to, let's make this for today and tomorrow. You don't have to cook every day, but you have to have good food. I'm going to do some barley, I'm going to do some veggies, I'm going to do some broth, I'm going to cook things for you or help you to do it, and need support of people to do it in order to be successful. And if need be, let's go to BioCare Hospital and have 24/7 care with all those aspects. Because we need to help your body to be resilient and to fight back. That's something that we never talk about. If you have a cancer, if you have an infection, if you have any disease, your body has the ability to fight back, because we were created in perfection. We were given the tools, the elements, the cells, the systems to fight back. But if we have damaged those systems and those resources through our lifestyle, stop that. Stop smoking. Smoking is highly pro-inflammatory. It is so inflammatory that the person sitting next to you is going to be affected by the smoke you are producing. Second-hand smoke is the truth. You do not smoke next to somebody you love. If you hate yourself enough to smoke, don't give it to others. The same with sugar. The same, and people tell me, so, I don't know, in a nonchalant way, "Doctor, I don't have time to cook." Well, what do you want me to answer? Don't tell me now that we have a health problem, because I will not be able to help you to solve it. Because you have the answer, you have the key to answer the problem. So, at BioCare, anti-inflammatory strategies are very important. One of the most powerful is fasting. So in many cases, our cancer patients will begin with a fast, because we want to bring inflammation down, because we want to destroy the environment that cancers love, because we want to destroy the normal chain of energy supply to the cancer, because we want to push the cancer to create an acid-developing metabolic cycle, a keto. For you, it's easier to understand now that we're talking about keto diets, to create a keto environment that cancers don't like. I want to create all that, because just through some simple strategies, I can help to fight against head-on the cancer. And all those strategies are also going to help other therapies. You know, it has been discovered that many well-managed, well-understood cancer therapies do not work because you have a very high inflammatory environment. Regular oncologic hospitals, and you probably know people that have gone through it, people that say, well, you know what, doctor, I was put on this therapy and it was very successful, doctors were very optimistic about the results, but all of a sudden it stopped working. It's like antibiotics. Many times you give an antibiotic and you give it again, and the third time it doesn't work anymore. That can happen with cancer therapies. You take it, good result, you take it again, you have a good result, and then all of a sudden the doctors tell you you're not improving anymore. The therapy is not working. Now, University of California, San Diego, has shown studies that show that when your inflammatory levels are high, standard oncological drugs do not work well. What they do, they bring those markers down. They do anti-inflammatory strategies to bring those markers down, and all of a sudden, things start to work. Isn't that beautiful? That simple, as natural as fasting and diet management can guide you to successful outcomes. We should really keep on talking about this. So stay with me. We have still more things to tell you. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And we're finishing our 5th program about cancer. We're rapidly approaching Breast Cancer Detection Month. But you know, I would almost love to erase the word breast and just call it Cancer Detection Month. I think once a year, which could be October but could also be your birthday, we all should make an effort to look around and see if there's something in our bodies that needs to be fixed. Like you do it with your car every time you're going to go on vacation, or like you do in your home just before the winter time, in order to face the challenges. I wish we all did that, because we would profit from huge dividends if we did that only once a year. And this time, I started thinking that many times people don't even really understand what is cancer, where it comes from, how it's produced. We don't understand it. Then we're hitting here and there and do things they told me, and I heard a doctor, I had a friend, etc. No, we need to concentrate our information. We have to learn more. We have to understand better. Because if we do, chances are that we can beat it in a much efficient way. We've been talking about the time when the doctor tells you, you have cancer. Now I can tell you you have cancer. Here's the biopsy. Here's the X-ray. You have a cancer, this, this, and this. And we have been talking about what you have to do. How you have to surround yourself of support, and how you have to become the manager, the chief, the person at the helm, in order to have control. I'll give you an attitude. An attitude counts. Okay? I think there are two attitudes that count. One, the one I'm kind of telling you, when you take control, and the other one is when you take it very calmly, but without fear. You're not passive. You're just quiet about it. You understand it, and you're willing to start doing something. Nevertheless, you're going to be proactive. You're going to do something about it. And what you can do can go from very simple things, as we were mentioning, like taking care of food, avoiding things that are going to be bad for me, helping my body to be in good shape, juicing or learning how to eat better, etc. Things that are going to help my body to be healthier. And depending on the condition, I might be able to do it at home. I get involved. I get people I love involved to support me. It might help them in the future. And if they start doing it, it might help them prevent something. So it's good for everybody. Good lifestyles, good eating has never hurt anybody. The contrary. So it might be the time, the call of attention to say, now I'm going to take it seriously. Now this body of mine needs special intensive care. And who better to do it than myself? And that's the time to do all these things. And we're talking about diet, bad food avoidance, and we have been talking about anti-inflammatory strategies and so forth. But when things start getting complicated, then it's the time to look for medical help. And then is when you can talk to the doctor and start doing things in a different way. Now, I have the personal belief that the best way to do it is to give yourself to 24/7 medical care and training. To go to a place where you're going to be treated, when you're going to be taught how to do it, when you're going to be fed the way I'm telling you, where you're going to put all these strategies in play in one place at the same time, because I know patients that tell me, but doctor, I did that, and then I did that. No, you have to do them together. If you want them to work well, you have to do it simultaneously. You cannot take this vitamin today and next year take this other thing. No, you have to put them together. Many people do the right thing at the wrong timing, so it doesn't fly. You have to do it together. And for that, you need medical advice. You can call me. You have my phone number, my toll-free phone number. You have my email. You have my social media contact. You can call me. You can ask me. You will not be charged anything. I'll be very happy, because it makes me very happy to be able to help people, to guide them. And we have many doctors at BioCare that will happily advise you. We have many patients that have gone through the process that will be happy to share their experiences with you. But what you can expect at a place like BioCare is that you can fast and do all these things with the proper medical care. You can be fed intravenously. Intensive anti-inflammatory strategies and treatments. So you can get everything, all the ball rolling at the same time, which is going to help you a lot, which is going to help you develop the future strategies for your management. We have discussed that one of the things that damages the systems, the immune system, and helps produce cancer cells is the mutation of cells. A mutation of DNA happens because excessive free radical activity. So you're going to need an antioxidant activity, an antioxidant strategy. You have to block all those free radicals from happening and from damaging your body. That's something you can do at a hospital. You're going to need, at the same time, oxidative therapies. Don't be confused. One is to block the free radicals. Oxidative therapies is produce, inundate the body with oxygen compounds, because cancers hate oxygen. So from simple oxygen to hyperbaric oxygen to ozone therapy, you can help to increase the volume of oxygen within your body, because cancer will not like it. We have a fantastic tool which is whole body hyperthermia, which is, as the name implies, raising the temperature of the body. Every time the temperature in your body goes up, your whole defense system gets better, because you have a higher enzyme activity, you have a higher immune performance, you have a higher everything. You can phagocyze, destroy bad cells, you can do a lot of things. Think of this, you don't have to believe me. What is one of the most common tools nature uses to help us cope with the disease? High temperature, fever. Every time we're sick, we develop fever, because that puts everything in motion. We do it under controlled circumstances for an extended period of time, because we want to damage the cancer. Normal cells are not affected by high temperature within certain limits. That's why you need a place like BioCare Hospital to do it. But when you raise the temperature, you help your immunity, you help your enzymes, you get phagocytizers, you get all these things. And normal cells are not affected. They're used to it. They're built to do it and to support it. That's why fever doesn't affect you, but affects the bacteria, affects the damaging agent. And in this case, high temperature can affect the cancer cell. Our therapies are also circadian friendly. What is circadian? Well, This is something that you don't hear many times about, but it's a very important phenomenon that happens in our body every single day. Our bodies are not the same at 10 a.m. than at 10 p.m. They don't work the same. They don't function the same. Drugs do not work the same in the morning than in the evening. Nothing works the same. You can go on a lot of physical activity during the morning, and you might not be up to it in the evening. Why? Because we have a circadian rhythm. The body has an internal clock that changes the metabolic functions along the 24-hour period. Now, if you understand that, and you plan your therapies around those clocks, you can be very successful in many therapies. Because in the evening, the oxygen consumption of the body will go down, and in the morning, it's going to go up. That is, if you have a normal body. But what happens with that up-risen group of cells, which is the cancer? We have said that they do not obey any rules in the body. So why should they obey if it's day or night? They keep on working the same way. So, let's say we fast a tumor for a day or two, and then we choose the later hour of the day, 10 p.m., 12 p.m., and then when all the energy processes of the body are way down because of the fasting at the time of the day, we hit the tumor with, let's say, a high dose of vitamin C, a high dose of vitamin A, a high dose of oxidative therapies. We're going to damage the tumor, but will not affect the the normal cell. We're going to hit it well, where it hurts the most, and we took advantage of a lot of things. Please follow me. Please ask questions. Please learn about it. Please share the information. Please do all this, because you're going to be helping everybody that you love. You don't have to listen 5 programs. You have to listen parts of it depending on your time, on how you feel. You can listen to them and your radio, when you commute and so forth. But this is information that you have to get, this information that you have to share. Until this next time, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez.